Hello, and welcome back to Art 111 Two-Dimensional Design. If you have not yet watched the welcome and introductory video in the week 1 learning module, please pause here, go watch that video and come back. But if you've gone through that video and you find yourself here, I just wanted to do a quick walkthrough of the Blackboard portal that we'll be using this semester. Now, I won't be linking to sites outside of Blackboard because that won't be captured, but I'll open all of the different learning modules and show you where the links are that you'll be utilizing this semester. So when you log in to Blackboard, I have this here in student preview mode. That is the mode that you will be seeing this exact model when you log into Blackboard. So I want to draw attention first to some of the content tabs at the top of Blackboard Ultra. Some of you may have been using Blackboard Ultra for quite some time, and some of you are just transitioning from the traditional Blackboard, and the platform looks a little bit different. So I just want to provide you with an overview so you feel a little bit comfortable before you log in and start really making your way through the semester. So the tabs at the top that you'll see are content, calendar, announcements, discussion, gradebook, messages, and groups. The primary tabs that you're going to be using this semester and that I'll be communicating with you on are content, announcements, and discussions. The content is really the primary tool. This is where all of the course content for the semester is laid out in terms of learning modules. So each of these sections is a learning module. Within each module is different content that you'll be using to work through the tasks for each week. Now you'll see I've organized it top to bottom, starting outside of our weekly layout. I have a quick link here. If you open up this, if you tap on it, it gives you a quick link directly to the homework platform. Now, the homework platform is a term that means it is one site that has your ebook, all of your e-readings, and your chapter quizzes. You do have to take weekly quizzes in this course. There's no midterm exam, there's no exams, but there are weekly quizzes that go along with the different chapters that align with the principles and elements of two-dimensional design. So this is one quick way to access the whole homework platform altogether. You may not want to use this because every weekly learning module links directly to the chapters and quizzes. But in case you want to open this up, have it be a separate tab that's pinned in your search engine so that you can go back to the text whenever you'd like, it's there for you. Now, I do want you to start here with the class introduction. This has your instructor welcome, which is also linked in week 1, and it has the course syllabus and the course outline. So when you open a learning module, you will get a series of links, files, or folders. Open everything in there just to make sure that you have access to it. Now, this will link you directly to YouTube where that instructor welcome and course overview is. So I'm not going to take us out of Blackboard now, but just know you will be linked directly to YouTube in a new window. If you click on the course syllabus, it'll pull up a document. Now, to see that, you need to click on the link. And once that's uploaded, you can view it online or you can download it. And if you download it, I recommend printing it out if you read better that way, or having it on your computer so it's something that you can go back to. This first week, please review the syllabus thoroughly. I'm not going to review it with you right now, but take the time to look it over and make sure it all makes sense to you. If it doesn't, reach out and let me know. Likewise, you have the course outline. This is our schedule of activities for the semester. This is really, really important that you're checking this weekly, multiple times throughout the week. I've got it break down per week with all of our tasks that are to be completed by the end of the week. Everything is due Alaska time, 11:59 p.m. by Sundays. Those some things are due weekly, some things are due bi-weekly. The only outlier here is the final project, which has a different due date, but most everything else, Sunday by 11:59 p.m. So just keep that tracked on your calendar. You'll see we're starting kind of slow in the first week. We're just going to make sure you're registered on Cengage. That's the platform. That's the host site for the ebook and homework tools. I want you to make sure you go through the syllabus, you go through this score schedule, you review the Blackboard layout. I'm going to be posting this as a welcome, I'm going to be posting this within your week 1 learning module, so you can have this Blackboard Blackboard tour as a resource tool as well. You'll watch that instructor welcome video, and you'll start your first assignment, which is a personal introduction discussion board post. That's all you're doing week 1. Week 2, you'll watch a lecture on art and design that introduces the concept of art and design. You'll do some chapter reading and a chapter quiz. You'll notice that your first assignment, your first design project, doesn't happen until week 4, right? So you're going to want to print this out, go through it thoroughly, check your dates. If you have any other deadlines coming up this semester, if you're traveling, just go ahead and check to see if you're going to have any conflicts so you can plan accordingly and make sure that you're managing your time well. So that's all in class introduction. These will be pinned at the top of our content area here, so you can always come back. Here's another that is all things related to the ebook. So this folder here is where you will where you'll register. So lots of tools on how to register, step-by-step instructions, how to make sure that MindTap is in your bookshelf at UAA, and some tech support through Cengage, which again is that host site. Now, if you're having any tech issues, I'm not going to be able to help you with that. You'll have to contact either Cengage or the UAA bookstore. I can help you navigate through to make sure you're getting to the right place, but I'm not going to be able to help you with any of the tech accounting side. If you registered for this course, you should have access to the text through inclusive access, and you should not be charged an additional amount. If you're getting prompted to pay, don't do it. Reach out immediately to the UAA bookstore to make sure that they have you listed on the course roster so that this is included in your inclusive access. You'll also find a link here. This will show all of the chapter readings. Again, these are going to be linked in the weekly learning modules as well. So it's here for good measure in case you want to go back to it, but you won't need to rely on this section for those readings. This is where I will put some ongoing extra credit. It's empty now, but I'll be populating it with extra credit as we go throughout the semester. We're going to have an opportunity in October for some extra credit, but as we go through, I will add more pieces here. I don't encourage you to miss assignments. It's really easy to get behind really quickly. So make sure you're hitting your targets, you're turning everything in on time. The quizzes and the design projects account for the largest chunk of your grade, and if you miss 1 or 2, it can make a huge difference. So make sure you're getting those done. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you have a conflict, if you need a little bit extra time, please reach out. I can be flexible about such things, but don't get behind at the start of the semester because it really builds up towards the end. But ongoing extra credit is an opportunity for you to, if you do miss a couple quizzes or you miss a discussion board, this can be a way to get some extra points. Or if you just want to get some extra points throughout the semester or have a couple of extra challenges, this will be a good way to do that. Now, I pinned this at the top as well, this museum or gallery visit review, because it is a required assignment that often gets forgotten about. It's quite simple. It's not going to be that challenging, but I do want it by the end of the semester. So you'll see I've clicked into the assignment. For all assignments, you have to go to view instructions here. Now that's going to pop up. The gallery review, I just want a one-page write-up about your experience visiting a art gallery or a museum. It can be in person or virtual, and you'll have noticed I left a few links to some online exhibits. Now, I want this to be your personal reflection. I don't want it to be a descriptive write-up of, what you saw. I want it to be your personal point of view. Did you like the works? Was there something that stood out to you? Who is the artist you saw? If it was a gallery show, was it a mix of artists? Did you not like it at all? Did you think it worked or was successful? If so, why? If not, why not? I've included a response paper guideline here as well in this file you'll click on if you'd like to read it, but you don't need to follow it. For this paper, I just want your perspective. I want to hear your thoughts. And if it's allowed by the museum or gallery, I would like for you to include images of what you're looking at so I can relate your experience to the works that you saw. And you'll submit it right here on Blackboard. Again, that's due by December 11th. Some students get it done right away, some wait a little bit longer, but don't miss this because it's 50 points. And that could really take a hit to your grade. So I'll do a reminder about mid-semester, but make sure that this is on your task list, not to forget to do. Then we move on to the rest of the learning modules, which are all organized by week. Right now, it is populated through week 8, and the rest of the semester will be added in the coming week. So don't worry that they're not there right now. I'm just going to show you a few, and then I'm going to have you this week go through them at your own pace, get familiar, make sure everything opens for you, and make sure everything's working the way it should. So for week 1, really, we're still getting started. This link will take you to a instructor welcome and course overview. Again, it's above, but it's here too. Your Blackboard tour will be here as well. You have some instructions on how to register. Again, for MindTap, that's the homework platform and where you will get the ebook. And then here you have your first discussion board. So this is personal introductions. There's some instructions there, and I want you to follow those. But when you link on it, you'll have your discussion topic. Here, to start a thread, you'll share your name, your pronouns, your year or position in university. If you have an art practice, the kind of art you make. If you don't, what is the kind of art you are interested in making? Do you have a favorite art form or art piece or artist? And what do you believe is the purpose of art? Now, to gain full credit on discussion board posts, that's 15 points, you need to make 3 posts. One is original, it's you replying to the prompt, and the next 2 are at least 2 replies to your classmates. That's the only way you can get full points on this. If you miss one, you're going to miss 5 points. And I encourage you to get your points in early because you are all dependent on each other to get these assignments in on time. If everybody waits to the last minute, it's going to be a rush to the end to make your comments on each other's posts. And I really want your comments to be thoughtful, positive, encouraging, and also constructive. This is our opportunity to engage with each other, to go have conversation with each other, to challenge each other. However, it is not a space to get into arguments or fights or to be disrespectful or harmful. I have a 0 tolerance policy for disrespect, aggression, or hate speech. So make sure you are practicing appropriate behavior, that you're treating everyone with kindness, and that if you don't agree with someone, you can express that in a civil, kind way, right? All of these are due by Sundays at 11:59 p.m. So do yourselves a favor and get them done at the beginning of the week so you each can go through and determine who you'd like to interact with and who you'd like to respond to, and make those responses thoughtful and engaging. A unsuccessful response is, "Oh, me too." A thoughtful response is really reading your classmates' posts, thinking about them, talking about what inspired you from them or what you're curious about, right? What you want to learn more about. what you saw that made sense or what reminded you of something else, right? I want to see an engagement with each other. Now, these discussion boards are just for you all. I don't intersect in them. This is for you to create some type of online studio community that we're missing not being in studio together. Okay, it'll also, in this week's learning module, you'll have a link that takes you out of Blackboard into Flickr to create your Flickr account. If you haven't logged on with Flickr, it's really simple. You just log on with your email. I suggest using the same email you use that's linked to your search engine. And we'll use this like any social media. One note that has been confusing in past semesters, you do not upload your design projects to Flickr. You upload them to Blackboard in the assignment, and we'll get to that in a moment. I then take all of your work images and create a course folder. And I will share that course folder under our project galleries learning module and also share that out in an announcement that will come into your email. So your job is to do your assignment on Blackboard, upload your images on Blackboard. My job then is to create a project gallery of our class's work, right? Once you're logged into Flickr, you'll go through everyone's images and you'll provide feedback that's constructive, that's thoughtful, and that is responsive to the design challenges that everyone's going to be coming up with creative solutions for. I've also have here a really quick fall 2026 success guide. If you're curious about what you can do to make sure that you're being successful in this course, you can look at this online or download it for some extra tips. And then we have your materials and media kit. So this is what I want you to get to start to have right away. I want you to have a sketchbook. It can really be any size. I just don't want it smaller than 8.5 by 11 because I want you to be able to sketch your concepts, your ideas. This is where you're going to jot down notes. This is where you're going to come up with ideas for design projects or the final. You should start again with that sketchbook. It's great to have a tablet of drawing paper that's a little bit larger, so 14 by 17. You know, some of the projects here are open to your interpretation. You could use digital art or you could use analog, right? But I still want you to have that drawing paper because some of the projects are really restrictive in the type of media that you can use or the technique. Having a good assortment of drawing pencils, charcoal, kneaded eraser, colored drawing media. This is really up to you, watercolor, pastels, gouache. If you're going with markers, I suggest getting a more art grade marker like a Copic, which is pretty expensive, but standard markers like Crayola, they leave striations of ink and it really decreases the quality of the work. So if you're going with markers, get a fine art marker. It's great to have drafting tape to tape down your paper or have clear edges. And then if you're going to be using wet media, you could get some brushes. A metal ruler is great to have, and some fine tip pens like a Micron or a fine tip Sharpie. And then you may need more things throughout the semester, but I would start with more of a simple toolkit that you can apply to a bunch of the different projects, and then hold off until you see the projects and how you want to address them. I've designed this course so even if you don't have access to a fine art store, you'll be able to get these materials at the dollar store, at a Fred Meyer. If you're in Anchorage, Blaine's does a student discount. I think Michael's does too. And Blick is a really great large art supply store that ships to Alaska. So lots of opportunities to get art supplies for this course. And then this link will take you to some tips about setting up a home art studio. I think it's really hard when we're working in our own spaces to create a designated area to create. So this video just gives you a few tips on how to do that. All right, week 2, again, open it up. You've got your first art and design lecture here. This will take you to YouTube and we'll take you through an overview of art and design. This, I'm going to have to move this here. It's in the wrong section. So I'll open that. It's a quick graphic of the principles of art and design that belongs in week 3. So I'm going to move it there. And then a link to your chapter reading and your chapter quiz. So this is where I was saying earlier, if you don't want to use that quick reference to the textbook, they're linked in all of the weekly modules. So you don't really have to worry about that. Week 3, we'll be addressing Unity, and it'll be your second lecture. It's the design principles. This will take you to YouTube, and it will be a lecture overviewing the design principles. And then this is the quick reference graphic that you can use to come back to as you're working on the different principles of design. Again, you'll have your chapter reading. And you'll have your second discussion board. Now, I want to bring up this discussion board because it's also it is also significant to how we work through the course this semester. This is a discussion board about AI and art, about the implications of AI on creativity, culture, ethics, and the future of art making. Now, AI is not allowed in this course. I have a section on that in the syllabus. It's not allowed to draft your statements for your discussion board, to do an artist statement, that's part of your final, to do your gallery review, and it's definitely not allowed as a tool to create your artwork. Your artwork has to be original. You can use digital art tools, you can use Photoshop, you can use digital drawing or painting tools, but you cannot enter prompts into ChatGPT, OpenAI, generative AI. You can't enter prompts or samples and have them come up with an art piece for you. That's not original making. The point of this course is to develop skills in you that you can use to create your own original works, right? To go over the principles and elements of design that you can then use to apply to your type of art making, not to have OpenAI develop something for you based on a prompt. So this discussion board brings the AI into the conversation because it's in every conversation that we're hearing these days. And I want you to think about several different potential prompts in your discussion board, and there's some resources there for you to do some research. This one is, again, 3 posts. You make 1 original, and then you respond to 2 of your classmates' posts. Okay. And then we have week 4. This is the last learning module that I'll talk a little bit more through. Again, you have your reading and your quiz, and then you have your first design project. Now, this is a folder, so you need to open all folders in the learning modules and to go through them. So here's another lecture. It's a brief overview of the history of self-portraits and a really brief introduction to the assignment, and then your assignment sheet. Now, this is important. Again, you're going to view instructions because this will give you an overview of what you're doing, its due date, the points possible, but you need to click on the design project sheet to get the full explanation. Again, you can download that if you'd like to have a tactile copy of it, or you can scroll through and make sure that you're following the guidelines as they are stated. Part of your grade is making sure you're following instructions. So make sure you read this, you print this out, you have this saved on your desktop, and as you're working through your concepts, you're making sure you're addressing the different guidelines that I've put in the assignment for you. And then when you're ready to submit it, you upload your file here. And any text that you would like for me to know about your work or for me to add to your Flickr profile. If you want me to add it to your Flickr, not profile, excuse me, to your Flickr piece. If you want me to add it to your piece, put a note on there that says, this is for, include this in Flickr. That way I know it's not just for me, but it's you want your peers to see extra content. Make sure you're following all the submission guidelines. This is a really easy one to overlook, and it's really important that you do. So save your files with your name, the artwork title, the media you used, and if you'd like to, the year. That's something that's helpful for your own personal records. It doesn't matter that much for our course, but it's a nice habit to get into. And then again, once you have all submitted your works by the deadline, I pull from Blackboard to create our project files on Flickr. Usually those are about a week after. It takes me a little bit of time to create those. And then you'll have another week after that to provide constructive critique and feedback. And I do have some suggestions on how to move through a group critique, but I'll also be putting guidelines down when I announce that those Flickr galleries are open. And then for every project, I'll have links to previous student work, so you can get an idea of what students before you did. Again, these are going to take us out of this Blackboard window here, so I'm not going to open those, but please feel free to open them and get a preview of what some other students have done in the course. Now, some folders, let's see, have lots, or some learning modules, like week 6 for balance, have lots of folders in them. So I want you to open these folders. This has several resources. So instead of a lecture for balance, I have 3 short videos I want you to watch. And then you'll have your assignment sheet again. Here, there's some extra credit for this one, and some resources that could be applied depending on how you're approaching the assignment. Some extra resources to watch that might be helpful, and then previous examples to student work. This is coming soon. So by the time you're there, it'll be populated. So you'll just go through and make sure everything's opening for you. Again, we're only at week 8, but in the next coming weeks, the rest of the weekly topics will be populated. Now, this is where all of our project galleries are going to go. It's empty right now, but here is another quick link to sign up for Flickr, but under this will be direct links to Design Project 1 Project Gallery, Design Project 2 Project Gallery. And then, of course, you can access the master gallery of student work here. That takes you to the 2D Design Flickr page that has all of the galleries from all courses since 2020. Okay, that's really it. Oh, one more thing. So this is all under content. The other tool you will use a lot is announcements. Here's the welcome announcement for today. This will have a little green check, I think, or a number when something's new. You'll click on that announcement. Read it thoroughly, because I might have some information that's really important for you to go over. Let me know if you have any questions. Here's your discussions. However, these are also going to be linked in those learning modules. So you don't really need this, but if you want a quick access to the discussion, you'll be using this. And again, only some of the discussions that we'll be doing this semester are linked. There's going to be a few more that are added throughout the semester. The gradebook is where you'll be able to track how you're doing and what's missing and when that due date is. Messages, if I have something to send you, I might put it here. I often use announcements a little bit more. If you have a message to send to me, I prefer it emailed. So please email me at bjmarrari@alaska.edu, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Just like I mentioned in the welcome video, I try to get back to you promptly within a day, but sometimes it can take a couple. So please message me as soon as something comes up. And just know that I try to be mindful about business hours. So if I get a message on a Friday, I might not see it. And it might take me till Monday or Tuesday to get back to you. So I try not to reply on the weekend and practice some good boundaries around that. So I wish you the best of luck for week one. Take time to get familiar with Blackboard, make sure all the links open for you, and let me know if you have any questions. I really look forward to getting to know you the best we can get to know each other in this distance remote course. And I'm excited about learning more about your work. Have a great first week.